Heidi ho everyone, and welcome once again to the Sunday Market Update. This is Geoff coming to you live from Tasmania in Australia, and I'm relieving the boss man. And I just got a feeling that he might be having a wonderful time in Wellington, windy Wellington, where this afternoon, those of you who are not aware, Paul B is a Kiwi, and that means he's a black follower. And if you don't know what that means, it's all about rugby. And it's not rugby, it's a religion, right? In New Zealand, it's just a religion where if you are Kiwi by nature, then you are black by nature as well. And black means all blacks. And that's all to do with rugby. And I apologise to those of you who are not into rugby, but that's where the boss is tonight, right? That's where PB is. He's actually we thought he might be celebrating another All Blacks victory. There's a big rivalry between Australia and New Zealand in rugby, and Helen's a fern leaf, right? Rugby is the only sport apart from cricket. Good on you, John. The good news is, if you're an Aussie, we didn't get beaten. In fact, the All Blacks versus the Australians in Bledisloe Cup, which of course is the pinnacle if you're trans-Tasman in trans-Tasman rivalry. And of course, it was a great game, to be fair. And it finished up a draw for those of you who are interested. And I won't spend too much time on this. But the reality is the All Blacks, weren't good enough to beat us. Yay. And that's kind of okay, because it is 19 years since no, they didn't lose. They didn't lose, John. They drew with the Aussies. It was 16-all. 16-all? I think it was 16-all. And what do you mean, shame? Oh, shame they didn't lose. Yeah, you're right. But the new Wallabies did a very, very good job. And some would say they might have been unlucky. Some would say that'll be a conversation for another time, I think. Anyway, let's get on to some trading, shall we? And we're going to be joined by a whole lot of people tonight, as always. We're going to go to Alexis very, very shortly, who's going to take us through the fundamental aspects of what's going on in the markets. Has he got it or hasn't he got it? Did he have it? Didn't he have it? What do you think? Conspiracy theory, fake news. Did he have COVID? Good question, eh? I think Chloe's going to be in. She's almost a mum. So I'm not sure if she's actually going to join us tonight. It's not that close, but maybe it is. Shukri's going to take us through the wonderful world of crypto. And look, I've got to be thinking, dollars, US dollars, not worth too much, sinking pretty quick. Should we be thinking the wonderful world of crypto is on our doorstep? Maybe we should. Shukri's going to answer all those questions as the time comes. It won't be too far away. Ainslie is going to talk about gold. I'm not sure if Peng Nui is going to join us on oil. I hope so. I hope that's the case. Lloyd's going to talk some analysis on the currency indexes, which is fascinating. It's a new segment in the show, and I'm looking forward. I write it down. True, I do every week as to what the I think relative strength with the dollar index, the currency indexes, I think is very, very important. So take note of that when Lloyd comes along, and then I'll probably chip in with a little bit of analysis from a chart perspective as well. First up, though, let's talk fundamentals. And my goodness gracious me, did he have it, Alexis? Did he have not? He's the quickest man who ever got over coronavirus. If he did he have it or not?
Well, it's really hard to tell, because I think it's like nearing election period, and Trump is a pretty much genius at using all ways and means to divert attention from whatever he doesn't want to do or is doing. I really can't tell.
And apparently overcoming a deadly virus at 74 years of age.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what is his. I mean, he rejected the debate. Then he's got a virus, and God knows what he's going to come up with to avoid certain situations. Pretty smart, but again, I think he really is one of those presidents that can pretty much do anything he wants.
Answer me this, Lexi. If you're not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not, but I listen to everything they say, right? What do you make of it? How does a guy who's 74 years of age go from walking out to a helicopter going like this, and then 2 days later say bye-bye hospital, and suddenly now he's back on the campaign trail? How does that happen? Good drugs?
Probably good drugs, but I mean, well, I have a tiny bit of experience working with COVID recovery patients. Yeah, so
do you really?
yeah, because I actually volunteered over the COVID period, so I do know that the infection time to the severity of it and all that, it's pretty different from person to person. But I think if you're not a conspiracy theorist, I'm pretty sure they're going to say that it's really expensive medicines or the top grade medical care. But then again, in 2 to 3 days, it's kind of difficult because it doesn't sound quite. It's like getting a normal flu. If you have a little sniffle, it could be 3 days. Maybe he just got the flu and said it was COVID. I don't know. It could just be a normal flu and he says, "Oh, I think I got COVID," and that's just create some distraction. So.
Does it matter at the end of the day? Where are we sitting from a fundamental point of view? And I guess it's not the only game in town, is it? But it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. But I think it really depends on the swing states, because it's not as simple as getting numbers of votes. Because I have been kind of trying to learn a little bit more about this election. So even though Biden is really leading in the polls right now, but it really is anything can happen, because if he can convince the swing states, which means the neutral states, and those are the areas that count, he might just still get his second term. So it really is a 50-50. I'm not going to bet against him.
Okay, 50-50.
Yeah,
I think
I'm still pretty 50-50.
A little bit more bent than that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
let's put that aside.
So, yeah.
What are you seeing for the next week? What can we rely on?
Right. So I'm going to just show screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about let's just see this. Okay, so we're going to talk about COVID recovery, just talking about the government as a whole, because what's going to happen is the new bill that got the US dollar really dropping quite a bit. And that was the main reason the US dollar just dipped down despite this being an election month. But I think the view in the forward, looking forward, is really about a reset. It's which country can get the best way forward and recover from COVID is the country that will start to perform a little bit better. So an example would, like this is for New South Wales. They actually have things like COVID recovery plans, how they're going to build their economy towards the next phase. So I think it really is now the race to recovery is about whether or not they can change fast enough, whether or not they can divert their resources away from tourism, away from travel, into areas that they can port economy. And these are that can change. The faster they can change, the faster they'll get ahead. I'm sure when tourism is going to come back, when planes, when cruises, ships, and all that will start to when holidays are going to restart, it's really a huge question mark. So for businesses to survive this, for countries whose economy depends on tourism, a large part to survive this, it really is in the next phase on how they're going to divert all these resources to the other areas of their domestic consumption. And that's where the next curious thing for me to look at is what each country is doing internally, or how they're diverting their so-called different sectors, to move forward into the next stage. So that's the thing that I'm curious about. Like, what's Australia doing now? I mean, Australians can they travel interstate? Can they travel out of state? Where
Yeah,
can they
look,
go?
a few of us
Yeah.
can, Lexi. We can go Tassie. You can't come to Tassie at the moment. Yay, I'm a Tassie guy, right? You can't go to Western Australia, I don't think, but you can go interstate as long as you're not from Victoria at the moment, and it's kind of complex. There are a few states who are accepting others, and there are other states like Western Australia and Tasmania at the moment, but that's only for another couple of weeks, and then the borders will be relaxed for those who are eligible, which don't include Victoria, obviously, and New South Wales are under watch. So it depends on what happens in New South Wales, as you're talking about right now, as to whether they'll be allowed to come into Tassie and Western Australia. But apart from that, there have been border relaxations, yes.
Yeah, so I think it's really, for the bigger countries, they're really lucky because they can at least travel interstate eventually. But I think like Singapore, we're pretty much stuck here. There's no other state to go to. It's just Singapore, north, south, east, west. We can't even go into Malaysia, our neighbor. So, and that is a huge chunk of, money just stuck in here, not flowing out, and things like that.
Can
So
I
it's really
can I put it back to you,
yeah.
Lexi? That is that not an opportunity? Is that, let's look at Trump's ideal, for instance. Trump's ideal was, okay, let's make America great again, which means that manufacturing goes back to the US versus China, or Taiwan, or wherever goods are made these days, right? But basically China.
Yeah.
Let's promote an economy within our own economy that says manufacturing is primarily what we need to do. We need to manufacture our own goods, create our own economy. Has COVID not knocked on that door? In not just the US, in all other, in every other. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay there.
Yeah, but not every economy has for example, Singapore, we are very service based.
Not resource based. That's right.
We're focused mainly on so that we're not strong in it. Have the space and the factories to do this. They could pretty much sustain, and not just that. We're talking about particularly, I think, locally in Singapore and also Malaysia. A lot of our spending power comes from people coming in to invest, people coming in to spend, and with this whole chunk of because we're just relying on local local consumption. So depends on
Lexi, I'm not
which
sure
sector
if
you're in. I think
you're on a
whether or not
connection, or if it's generally me. Is there anyone else having struggles listening to Lexi? She seems to be cutting in and out. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Lexi, I think you've got a problem. And therefore, I think we will just change from Lexi to myself. Lexi, you've got a bad connection, I think. So let's call it quits there and move on to.
All right. Did I get lost from the internet? Hello, testing. Was I kicked out? Sorry, guys. All right, awesome. So I probably was lost. All right, hi Geoff, I'm back now. Sorry about that. I think I had patchy connection.
Geoff, are you talking to yourself, mate?
Oh, did we lose Geoff too?
I don't know. Yeah, Alexis, it was it wasn't it wasn't great towards the end. We couldn't really
Geoff out.
couldn't really make out what you were saying.
I see.
Let me exit my full screen here so I can see everyone. Geoff is there. Geoff is talking apparently, or sharing his screen at least, but no, he's not talking because we can't hear him. Geoff, what's happening in Tassie? Did you guys forget to pay your internet bill? We can see your screen.
Maybe it's Zoom.
Well, yeah, hang on. Not sure. But Geoff's having some audio challenges. Yeah, he's just muted himself, so he might unmute himself now and we can try again.
It's one of those
now your audio is working great, Alexa. So do you want to finish up on what you were talking about?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm not going to change screen or anything because I don't want to mess my. I don't know what's happening, but yeah. So I was talking about sector challenges. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think economies that doesn't rely as strongly on tourism, could probably bring the money back home. Countries that bring their own manufacturing and increase their jobs on their own. But countries that has a large tourism factor to it, they are going to have to figure out a way to divert the money back into domestic spending. And I think the country that is able to do that successfully or fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my next research is I'm gonna see if any governments that has ways to divert this sector back home. So interestingly enough, I know Singapore has been encouraging staycations, little things like that, so that to support the hotel industry, to support our local tourism sectors. They're giving little promotions and encouraging people to go to our local tourist sites to support the sector. So I guess it's pretty curious to see how countries that rely on this. Well, Helen, we can go to Sentosa, but we can't go to Batam. Batam is considered part of Indonesia.
Sentosa, so expensive, nothing to see anyway.
So we can't go there.
That's a Sentosa acronym. No, actually, in Singapore, there's been a big push towards local tourism, domestic tourism.
Yes.
But there's only so many times you can go to the zoo or you can go to the bird park. So
precisely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's probably difficult for Singapore. Like we can't travel interstate because it's just us, but countries like, the US, Australia, the bigger ones, they have different states they can with and try to, flow the money around, so it's pretty difficult. I think Singapore to, they have to figure out something else. I think the local gap, I'm sure the government is trying to figure out how to open up the borders, either open up the borders a little faster, or to Malaysia's efforts to local tourism.
Yes. And I think a lot of other countries are probably better placed for domestic tourism than Singapore is, but we're just trying to jump onto that bandwagon as well. Your internet is also is starting to give us a challenge again, Alexis. Yeah. Hey, I might take over here and all right. In the meantime, maybe in the background we can fix Geoff's challenge and I'll talk about some charts that I have been looking at over this weekend. So Yes, over to me. Let me see if I can share my screen. I think I should be able to. There we go. Right, you should be able to see my screen now. And this is the Aussie Kiwi, Australian dollar versus the New Zealand dollar. This is the weekly chart for the Aussie Kiwi. And what's interesting about this is that in the last couple of months, we've broken this major trend line. Yeah, which has gone all the way back to 2015. We broke through it. We spent a little bit more time underneath it, but we've decisively broke through it. Now we've come back and almost retested it. The other thing I'm keeping an eye on is this horizontal level, yeah, which is at 108.25, and this is it's a level which has been both support and resistance, and now again we've broken through it. We've come back, we've retested it. Not really a super clean retest. You can probably draw another little horizontal level down there, I guess, which we have kind of recently bounced off in the last few weeks. This is the medium-term view, right? Because it's a weekly chart. But if we go down to the daily, I think this is also pretty cool. On the daily chart, you can see that we've made a higher high. We've had a bit of a retracement there. A couple of cycles down, yeah. But it fits nicely into a channel or a bull flag, and now we've broken out of that. So 108.25 is the horizontal level that we saw just now on the weekly chart, and Wednesday we had a bullish engulfing bar, or not quite a bullish engulfing, but close enough. Thursday we had bullish follow through. Yesterday we retraced back a little bit, but look, there's lots of support here. So whilst the Aussie Kiwi stays above around about 108, stays above the top of the trend line there, right? As the top of the channel. I'm pretty excited about, enthusiastic about higher highs there. In fact, the Aussie itself, if I can just open up another chart here, Aussie US dollar has been also a bit of an interesting currency over the last maybe 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so this is the weekly chart for the Aussie. Big push down, but we've had inside movement almost to the top of that, which is kind of more or less cancelled it out. And on the daily chart, we've got this higher low here and 3 days of buying. So I don't know what's going on fundamentally to support this, but you know, I'm pretty upbeat about the upside. Sorry about the pun there. Upbeat about the upside for the Aussie US dollar against most of the other currencies. It might outperform against the US dollar here, but it will. I think for a longer term play, it's probably a good currency to trade against the New Zealand dollar there, just as I mentioned before. Interested
Mate,
to hear some
based
thoughts
on the fact that we're now equal terms with the All Blacks on Wellington soil.
Well, there you go. So I don't watch rugby anymore. I don't watch rugby anymore because I'm just tired of seeing the green and gold, right? Flag trampled into the dirt, right? So
you didn't watch today?
I didn't watch the Bledisloe Cup, but I one of my Kiwi friends, one of my New Zealand friends, texted me about it and said, "Hey, we both won at 16 all." So it's good to hear. That's good to hear. We didn't win, but we didn't lose, right? So it's a step in the right direction for
Isn't that awful
for the All Blacks.
We didn't lose
for the Wallabies.
We have the party because we didn't lose.
Yeah, exactly. But
Sorry, I interrupted.
I thought you were going to ask me a fundamental question, Geoff. It's good to hear your audio's are back on track now. But yeah, look, this is. I mean, one or 2 weeks ago, with this big move down, I was starting to call a top on the Aussie US dollar here. But whilst it stayed above 70, and that's pretty much where it bounced off, right? The 70 level, that horizontal level there, it's still bullish for me. So I think you've got to trade what you see. and not what you think. And right now the Aussie is back in favor, I think, as a long trade. Just wondering if anyone else had any technical comments to make on Aussie US dollar or Aussie Kiwi.
Just on the Aussie dollar there, PH, this week there was a big release on the help and the extension of JobKeeper and other plans and the infrastructure that the government is putting in place. New South Wales and Northern Territory have opened their borders to New Zealanders, so Kiwis can fly over. So for us, the other thing that's going to be in place is travel hopefully between New Zealand and New South Wales and New Zealand, Pacific Islands and Singapore will be in place by Christmas, they announced.
Awesome.
So all those
New
kind of
South Wales
things,
not going to happen because you buggers have got another 3 cases.
Oh, yeah. New South Wales is a bit on again, off again, isn't it?
It's a real on again, off again, but they hope to have it in place by Christmas. That was the news out this morning. What they're trying to do is just say, okay, it's looking better. And you look at France, for example. Have a look at France's little results today on COVID. What did they have? The most they've ever recorded in one day, 27,000 or something. So 3 in comparison. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do.
That kind of underscores your case, doesn't it, PH?
What's that?
That kind of underscores your case for the Aussie, doesn't it?
Well, okay. So, but on the other side of the coin, I heard that the RBA is planning to drop rates in the future when they can. But for now, it's attracting buying interest. But I'm not. Sorry, Ainslie?
Yeah, they didn't want to. They're really reluctant to drop rates any further.
Okay, all right. I might have misread or misinterpreted something I saw on the.
So I'm surprised to hear that because they didn't want to do that. They'd said to the government, put all these other structures in place.
Yeah.
At the last one, and that's what the government have done. It was a huge infrastructure planning. The budget cap was released this week, and it was pretty well received. It's going to just tip the country into a bucket load of debt, but the thing is it'll get us back on our feet, and it was well received this week. That is what you're seeing is the push up from when the budget came out. There's some things ticking in. You can see it being absorbed. I think on Friday, we can all put it down to the US dollar decline.
Exactly.
Also, but all things being equal, it's the little Aussie battler. I think is going to do okay.
Good. All right. Well, I've got one more chart. I've got 2 more charts to look at here, one of which is the pound yen. And what I see is interesting on the pound yen here is, again, there's a horizontal level on the weekly chart, which has been. We tested below it, but we've managed to close above it. We've had 2 weeks of pretty decisive bullish price action here on the pound yen. And by the way, the pound US dollar is not doing too badly as well. If I can manage to get a long trade on the pound yen, I'm going to target the trend line here, which is about, it's about 300 or so pips away from where price is now, which isn't bad, right? And on the daily chart, what I'm also noticing here is, okay, we just managed to get above the 200-day moving average, which is one of the things that I watch on the chart to tell me if it's overall bullish or bearish. Here is the horizontal level that I showed on the weekly chart there. Which again we've broken, we've retested. Love those horizontal breaks and retests because that's when the bulls like to pile in. And I'm just also noticing that as price wavered a little bit around the 200-day moving average, it was above, it was below, it was cautiously above, and Thursday and Friday has actually pushed it above and made a new high for the week. So it's a decisive bullish candle on Friday. It's a decisive bullish candle which closed at the high for the week. And just to bear in mind the pound influence on this, right? So this is what the pound looks like against the US dollar, which is also closed at the weekly high. Yeah, pretty much. And on the daily there on Friday, it also closed at the daily high. So big exodus from the US dollar as of Friday. And you know, I compared the pound versus the Aussie. They're kind of not giving or taking away any ground from each other. So I think both of these currencies will outperform next week. But I particularly liked the price action I saw on the pound yen for a more medium term move here. Yep. So that's chart number 2 for me, pound yen.
That kind of suggests that you're in favour of a risk on society or certainly market sentiment coming up.
Well, why? Geoff. Well, okay. So, great question.
Or is that not the case? You're just being a technical person.
No. I am a technician. Oh, I've got some echo going on there. I'm a technician first and foremost as a trader, and it has been topsy-turvy over the last, I don't know, couple of months.
Yeah, I call it Miyagi territory. Wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Risk on, risk
risk
off.
on, risk off. Yes.
Yeah.
But look, you've got to, you know, again, like I said before, you've got to trade what you see. When this was happening to the Aussie, I was cautiously bearish. It's you know, the buyers redeemed it here. So if you see the Aussie US dollar being bullish, then I think you can't call a risk off market.
No, you can't. No.
Yeah. So you know, taking that into some of the other currencies, if you see, and I'll just load up the what do you call it? The US dollar yen as well. That's my other, you know, risk barometer.
Is it really? Can you actually get a handle on that? I can't read this chart no matter what I do.
Yeah.
I think it's just the most inane, ridiculous barometer of what's going on in the world.
Well, yes, it is.
Yet everyone else seems to think it's the best. So I don't get it.
Yeah, it's okay. So lately it's been misleading. You could say that, right? So here we went down.
I could say
made a new low. we were all, you know, calling doom and gloom, and the stock market. I think the S&P 500 was also going down in you know, in sympathy, and then I don't know what happened here. Whether it was some yen, you know, some Japanese stuff, or whether it was some just global stuff. We came back up. We still haven't. I don't think we can say that anyone can be a bull on the US dollar yen right now, but the fact is that it's staging pretty deep recoveries. It's not, you know, it's not looking like it's going to break down anytime soon. So I think Friday again was more of US dollar weakness than yen strength. Right, but still, you know, look at the price action for the week. For the week, we still gained ground. Yep. So yes, I mean, historically, yes, the US dollar yen has been a risk barometer, and at times when things have been bad, the yen, you know, look at how far did we go down in February, right, at the start of COVID. We from open to close, nearly 1,000 pips. Yeah. So it's when it starts to make decisive moves that then everyone jumps on board. I'm having problems anticipating those moves right now, but I am keeping one eye on this particular chart. But anyway, we're kind of getting off the topic here. I am, to answer your previous question. Yes, Geoff, I'm risk on. That's what the market's telling me.
Yeah, and you know what? Every time we go risk on, I think, what the heck? Why? We've got rumors of war. We've got little rocket man's now got a big rocket. Apparently, we've got COVID-19. He
had a little military parade for that.
Yeah, he did. He's done that before, of course, but now it's a big rocket. he has to be big rocket man now, apparently. We've got the president of the United States in an unfit condition. We've got an election in a free world coming up. Why are we risk on?
All I can say, Geoff, and I won't give you a long-winded response to this, is markets, the natural state of markets is optimistic. And when bad news happens, okay, and when bad news happens, the market has a knee-jerk reaction often, okay, and if everything turns out to be okay, then the markets swing back to optimism as quickly as possible. That's been my observations as following the markets for many years. Markets prefer to be optimistic until such times as there's blood in the streets, and everything is doom and gloom, and there's no hope for the future. The world is about to end. That's when there's no more optimism, and of course that's when guys like Warren Buffett are starting to survey the markets and look for long-term bargains.
Look, it makes perfect sense what you're saying, and the reality is we're in the markets because we want to make money, right?
Yes.
And guess what? Mostly the only way that we've ever known traditionally and historically to make money is to bet up, not to bet down.
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder to make money going short, and it's harder to make money, being a pessimist than an optimist. So, yeah, that's my answer. And those are my charts. Look, if there's time, I'd like to come back and talk about this CAD Swiss, because I think we did have a chat about this last week.
You and I did, yeah. We had a little conversation about that.
Yeah, but it's been a bit of a laggard. I still believe there's upside, but we'll come back and talk about that later.
Hey, go back to that chart.
Yeah, CAD Swiss. This is weekly.
Beautiful little swing shot there.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah. But on the daily chart, there's a little break. There's a little trend line break there as well, which I feel is, after all this nonsense that happened in the last couple of weeks, I think it's positive. I think it's a positive thing. But maybe we'll come back to this in a while.
All right, mate. Happy days. If we've got time, we will certainly do that. Thank you so much. Much appreciate for taking over the reins. Because I just lost the whole thing. It just went crazy.
All good. No worries.
Me too, Geoff. I lost my computer as well, so I went out.
Is that right, mate?
Yeah. I had to zip up I'm on my laptop at the moment, so there you go.
All right. So hopefully everything has been restored into some sort of formality or normality. And we can't talk normality when we're going to our next guest, because he's completely completely abnormal. But guess what? If we start talking about what's normal these days, nothing is. Truly, I don't see anything that's normal going on the planet, frankly. Including the price of petrol, oil, gold. How about cryptos? Should we start thinking cryptos? And the man who we're about to talk to is going to tell us that there's some really good investments coming up in crypto.
Oh, yeah. It's been a good week, Geoff. And I became a DGen last week.
Did you?
I'll show you what. I'll show you what's happening.
So my wallet should be full.
Not yours, because that trade wasn't done in your wallet.
Bugger.
But hopefully we'll do it one day. Let me change the screen now. But
all right, mate. What do you got?
I'll just show you the crypto perspective in a world that totally doesn't make sense, But the advantage in crypto is everything is, everything goes higher than it's supposed to go. And that's somehow when you make a lot of money. So Bitcoin finally broke up, and no surprises, because whenever you see the Aussie or the GBP USD or Euro breakout, well, Bitcoin breakout. It just works like that. Finally, after such a long time, it broke out on Thursday, Friday, and there was some fundamental news also, but I think it's more of the US dollar really crashing down. So we've broken this 11.
I was going to say, is that correlated? And obviously you're thinking it is, yeah?
Yes, it's coming back again. So the next level is 12. And there's a lot of resistance here. But once we clear 12, I think we go to 14 up here. Why do I say 14? Just look at the weekly chart. And as I told you before, once we go to 14 here, Bitcoin being Bitcoin, I do expect a dump again, 25 to 30%, because that's what it always does like that, because here again, I think people will be in a total state of euphoria. So it will dump again, and then it will continue to the all-time highs, 20, I think, next year. Not this year, next year, okay? We got to wait on that. And the factor is the Trump again. But Trump is sometimes good for us. So Ethereum, again, finally broke again that level of 360, looking to challenge 400. I think we'll stop around here somewhere, max here before next year, okay? And the only uncertainty now is the general election, the US election, whatever they call it. I have bought some Ethereum, but I don't buy Ethereum to trade. I buy Ethereum to put work in the market, to make it multiply more. So yes, I am bullish. And the only factor that's good and bad now is I don't know what to do. The only thing that is preventing me from going all out is the elections, because I can't predict Trump, okay? But I'm going to tell you the thing from the crypto world. I think we have this very bad attitude that, whenever it goes down, what do we say? Powell's going to come in. There's going to be stimulus. They're going to pump more money, this money printer go birthing, and we're all going to be safe. And that's kind of bad. But that's what's been happening in the market. That kind of trade seems the only thing that works now. And let me show you what I mean by that. I mean, sometimes, we had a wallet class that was us going to the bus. The past several weeks after that class was the doing nothing mode. So you go from the bus. This is a Nissan Micra mode, okay, where you don't do anything. Since Bitcoin is about to break out, we're about to go into the Lambo mode. And once we go to the Lambo mode,
hang on, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Are we going to get sued by Nissan Micro because?
It's a popular meme, when no one's making money, we drive Nissan Micras.
I love it.
We drive Lambos, and then we go to the moon, and we have Kava here. This is my own, because you need to have Kava, right? Don't forget that. And
I won't forget it.
So during the past 3 weeks, it's been doing nothing. But let me tell you what doing nothing means in crypto, because it's a totally different thing. Doing nothing can mean making money too. Because last week, this guy, Jack Dorsey of Square, and also founder of Twitter, decided he's going to put 50 million into Bitcoin as his company's saving, for his company's reserves, following MicroStrategy. That's a big thing for Bitcoin. Next, Google Cloud. We're all familiar with Google Cloud. They have decided to team up with a cryptocurrency called EOS, EOS, and that they're going to put it on the blockchain. So another big news for cryptocurrencies. And third thing, last weekend, I went into, CryptoKitties? Has anyone heard of CryptoKitties? Any long time ago?
Come on, hands up. No.
Hands up. No. Okay.
Now, all you palms, put your hands down.
CryptoKitties 2 years ago, just what they basically did, because this is all the cute things you can buy them on the blockchain. They totally swamped the Ethereum network. They were so popular. And now the lab that was doing it, which is called Dapper Labs, and they're very popular in Japan, came out with an offering, okay, that will reduce the reliance on Ethereum, and it will go on their own network. So again, this is when we're doing nothing mode, okay? We're absolutely doing nothing here. We can go and buy this. So I bought this for 10 cents. It's not listed yet, and it's already up it's already up 3.8 times. It's now 38 cents. So this is not bad, getting 3.8 times.
Hang on, mate. Wait.
Yeah.
You invested in that and it's not listed.
It's not listed yet. This is the first round. This is the second round.
We poor mortals who have got absolutely no idea of what's going on there.
Yeah.
How do we take advantage of something like that?
Saturday and Sunday, because you got to know the news flow. Because Dapper Labs is huge. In fact, this offering broke records. Because it's also good, Geoff, because they give it to the small guy. So I think about 14,000 people went in,
Right. So do we tune into what on Saturday and Sunday?
I have classes on Saturday and Sunday, my first class.
Right. So
yeah,
how do we do that?
Attend that. but I'll also tell you the formulation this Wednesday, how I find all these deals. So yeah,
okay.
this broke record. This is like 14,000 people. So, you know, apparently a lot of people had nothing to do, right? Because yeah, the markets are tricky, you know. I mean, it's also tricky for crypto, but in crypto, we do different things. And when crypto
you certainly do. There's no question there.
That's why it's on another planet. That's why we have endless supply of kava, which we're running out, Geoff. You got to supply it to us.
Yeah, I know, man. Right.
Next thing that happened was, and thank Trump. Now, this is what happened to my account. This is like totally insane. This is totally degen and unacceptable, okay?
Yeah, tell us more.
Okay, that's totally degen. What's degen mean? Irresponsible in making money. I was totally irresponsible. And thanks to Geoff also. You see what happened was, you know, I just set up a TP for this. So I remember, Geoff, your famous GBP AUD TP, right? Yeah, and this nice tweezer top. So instead of setting it here, I'm like, instead of usually setting it here, I said, okay, why don't I set it here? And it will never get hit. It did.
What are you
doing? Let me tell you, this is a fundamental trade. This is not speculative. Now, this company that you see here, it's actually a company that gives out loan. So this is my strategy. You know, I may talk about kava because kava is very good. And I do trade kava. But if I want to make a lot of money, I find the equivalent of kava, a smaller company that can grow faster. So I was trading this, and I put the TP here because it is good in loans. And let me tell you an example here, okay? If you have cryptos, if you borrow $1,000 for 6 months, you only pay $3 in interest. Isn't that crazy? So it's good, right? Good for borrowing.
Sounds okay.
Sounds okay. So what happened was, okay, this is what happened. And listen to this. So when we're doing this, guys, we have to be like venture capitalists. You got to find a use case for the crypto. So what happened was, guess what? During this time, didn't Trump come out and say, stimulus is canceled? I'm not going to do the stimulus. And suddenly when you have people hoping for the stimulus and the stimulus not coming in, what do? They want to borrow. So they just pushed it up. They just crazy, totally crazy. It went down after that, but you know, I was here. So again, when I'm here, you know, I of course convert everything back into US dollars, so I'm safe, okay? So again, this is what I said, you know, getting to the moon is one thing, but you gotta have a certain formulation there. And the idea is simple, is to find the best companies, or rather the best sector. Like it's in the same sector as kava, which is lending, but then you have to say, okay, kava is on top here. What are the smaller companies that can go and become the size of kava? That's all you need to do. It's a lot of work, so we're gonna have a lot of fun soon. And that's what I have for the crypto markets.
Shukri, mate, we're not into trading, right? Yeah. That's not our thing. For cryptos, we are into trading here. But again, when we do this, okay, let me explain to you. When we are in trading like kava, you know, I only target like 10% a month. Although during the past 3 months, I've gotten 50%. Okay, that's it. That's all we want to do, because we don't want to get into trouble because, you know, cryptos are pump and dump. But when we do go like this, you're right, it is for investing. We're looking like 3 to 6 months going like, you know, and I'm very lucky this year. I've had 2 cryptos go over 20x. So that's good. So it's investing for the long term, and you know, it's fun work. It's fun work. And then as I said, what I'll teach. Yeah, it's only 20x. One went like 27x. And you're disappointed, right?
I'm disappointed because I haven't hit 50 yet.
You're a wally. All right, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Look, guys, if you're not thinking that cryptos are going to take over, you're probably right. But at the end of the day, there's some wonderful opportunities out there in crypto at the moment. And the guy who you just listened to knows them. And thank you, mate. Really
he's the Shifu, the Shifu of cryptos in Actions to Wealth. Thanks, Shukri.
Yeah, it's next week. Don't worry. There's many other opportunities. What you don't want to do in crypto, you don't want to FOMO. So, you know, you just relax and you just wait for the opportunities to come. That I think is the #1 rule here, you know. Missing is okay. If it's gone, it's gone. You know, after the cat, there's another one, you know, there's another animal coming up, and I'll tell you guys on Wednesday.
I think you're learning. I think you're learning, Shukri.
Yeah.
Good man. All right, let's go from cryptocurrencies to a more, of a far more traditional way of investing, and that's known as GOLD. And our resident expert on GOLD is my good friend A. Hi, A. How you doing?
Hi, Jeffy. How are you, Dale? I'm on my laptop, as you know. You'll have to. Can you throw up a gold chart for me, please?
I probably can.
What a funny old week.
I can throw up a GGen screen, but hang on a second.
Because whilst I'd like to drive around in a new Lamborghini, I don't have one yet.
Would you really? I think they're overrated, frankly.
No, the four-wheel drive. I've got kids.
I like my Holden Ute.
Kids. No, do I look like a Holden Ute?
What's wrong with my Holden? No, you don't. That's true. There you go. You've got a daily chart on XAUD.
Hello, gold. It's been giving me a little.
Did you get in?
Yes, hello. We got in. We got some movement finally on Friday. After going nowhere further for a good little while. If you drop down to a 4-hourly, please, Geoff, that'd be really good.
There you go.
There we go. So I was very nervous at the top of the yeah. Hello. But I thought,
that's one of my type of bars, because that's got a black body and a long tail. That's me. Yeah.
Long tail. And then the next bar was inside bar, and then we had lift off. But I got very nervous because we got to the top of the range and she paused and pulled back and paused and went up again and came back, and then we finally cracked 1900. Yeah, no, that wasn't 1900. But we had a close. What we did have is a close above a critical level of 1928 on Friday and on the weekly bar. So we had 2 weeks.
Weekly. Why is that critical? 1928.
It's a level. It's cracked it, and the 1928. It's only just.
Apparently, I've already got that level there.
Have you? Well, wacky do.
Oh, that's probably.
It must price, be important.
Actually. That's the market, I guess.
This is it's where the close. But closed above it, and we're back up, and we're looking for a couple of look. Technically speaking, we're looking for 1931, followed by 1938, and then 1950, that round number. So they're the next levels. If it cracks it on Monday and it keeps going, amongst all the other bits and pieces that have been announced previously this evening, US dollar weakness. We've got the multi-trillion-dollar aid package that's all over the shop. We've got US inflation coming out. We've got consumer spending data this week. So amongst all of that, gold is sort of looking a little bit, I don't know, what's that word, shiny this week. So
promising, all those things.
Yeah. It's looking a little bit. It did track the rally up on the S&P and the Dow Jones.
Attractive.
It tracked it. Yeah, it tracked that rally as well. There's just a bit more optimism, despite all the oohing and ahhing that is going on out of the White House with.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why would we want to be? We wouldn't really want to be entering the market to get $9, would we?
I'm just saying these are the levels that you need to look for. There'll be a little bit of and it's not a matter of just going into the market for taking profit at that level. What I'm saying is these are the levels that have shown resistance previously, and the market might reverse at that stage, or it might actually just pause, consolidate, chew on its cud, as we would say in the country here, before it takes off to another level. But those levels are things not to get nervous about, but to understand that they are in the market. They're priced in. They're known levels of resistance, and the market may slow. Just don't get nervous. Just be aware of them. That's all.
So does that?
It might come back, it might retest, it might go blowing straight through, depending on what fundamentals are happening in the market at the same time, But we've got a fairly long extended bar there. Sorry, Dale?
Yeah. What do you do when you see a bar like that on gold? I mean, it's the biggest bar
for a while, isn't it?
For a long, long time. Yeah. So obviously there's intent there, but
and looking where it's closed, it's back up above that level. But you know, like I said, we're what 3 weeks out to a major election that's just gone off the rails. You know, I'm looking at data from 1952. 1952, every 4 years, and I went through the seasonal stuff. And I was looking at all of this, and I'm just like, oh, I know, Helen, and that's one of the things I keep saying. And I got chopped. I've been chopped a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. One, it was because my computer had cardiac arrest.
SH1T itself.
Oh, big time. Apparently dust in the operating system, in the operating bits and pieces, it's not healthy. So, but yeah, it's just been all over the shop. And as soon as you get to one, you think it's going to crack through a level, it turns around, does a Yui, and goes back the other way. So yes, Friday.
A Yui. That's a good Aussie term.
It is a Yui, and chewing on the cud, and the you, and we've become very Australian. There's been no Kiwi influence this evening.
It can't be good.
Which part?
I'm the only one who understands, and apart from you two.
Yeah, doing the
I know. I need to get it back on track here.
Kind of my stuff.
Yeah, I'll act as a translator. Yui means it does an about face. Yes. A U-turn.
Yes. It hits a level of resistance and responds accordingly. It no longer likes that level. However, given the level closed out.
The big question is, what do we do this week?
Wait for more confirmation. Like I said, that's a really big, strong, and it's closed on the on the high. You've got an overextended bar. It's not somewhere I would recommend going in on any chart pattern, is to go in at the end of an overextended bar. You need to see what happens. But yeah, it was a good Friday, and we know Fridays are pretty notorious on gold for a bit of a rally to end the weekend, to go into the weekend anyway. But
does it make sense though?
Wait for a small pullback and then see where it goes. And if it pushes back off the if you go to on the, which chart was it? On the monthly, it is bouncing off the monthly pivot. There is a monthly pivot that it's
yeah, I haven't got the pivots on. Let me do
that. Don't worry. Take it from me, that's what it's doing. Or it's on the weekly pivot, or it's the weekly chart. I can't remember. I was looking at it. It's bouncing off something on the weekly or daily, weekly or monthly. Yeah, you can see the bottom of that anyway. There we go. It's bouncing off that. Look at that. We've got a close and away it goes. So yeah, it's interesting times. Interesting times. The just so you know, the stock market has a habit of rallying for 10 days prior to. So from the 10 days prior to the US election, so the US elections are November 3rd, 10 days prior to that, the stock market does tend to rally, where the gold is going to follow suit from the 26th on. We'll see. But we've got another week or so in there before to get to those levels.
I'm not trying to trade for anybody.
At the moment,
in definitely the least yourself, and I've never traded gold in my life, as you know. But this chart, it would make sense to me to put an entry at maybe, I don't know, $10 or $15 or whatever you call those things, above the entry, above the close of that bar here, and maybe put your stop loss down here. That would make sense to me. If you're a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I've got to say, at the moment, gold's looking a bit of a safe haven at the moment. You looked at the US dollar earlier, did you not? And there's a bit of weakness on Friday, like dollar index, US
absolutely.
dollar. Yeah,
it crashed. Yeah,
crashed, and the gold's picked it up. It's safe haven. So there you go.
Say no more, pussycat. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it there. So we'll see how that follows through to next week. And a lot of that's going to have, you know, depending on state of the nation coming out of the White House, right? Yeah. Do we have stable?
Well, there'll be fake news.
Look, Leslie.
No matter what, there'll be fake news. Like Donald Trump's got COVID.
Oh, look. Do you know what's really sad? You can't have 19 employees, including your wife, have it as well. If he was the only one and didn't have, he was the only one that had it, nobody else had it, I'd be a little bit curious. But the fact he's got 19 staff, aides, governors, senators. That
actually, how are they all doing? Have they all come through it as well?
One of the Secret Service guys, one of his Secret Service guys, is actually incredibly ill.
Is that right? Okay. Look,
yeah.
I don't think it serves any purpose speculating whether it's fake news or not, but
it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
No, just don't go
see
there.
How everything pans out next week. But you know, you can see oil has been far more sensitive to
actually news. Speaking of which, I don't think we've got Ping Ni in the room, have we? Or have
we don't. But if if you can have a quick flick at WTI, that would be really good, because you can see how it's flicked around. You know, it's really moved with the news on Donald Trump was good on the week, so up it went, and then we hear the news of the hurricane in and a Norwegian oil strike, and down she came again. So she's being very, very touchy and sensitive at the moment. Poor oil. You're
Why
on an
are you
chart.
giving her a gender?
Because she's just
sensitive
to news.
Oh, okay, right.
Cool. Just go back before, Ali. I can't look at an Ali chart. It does my head in. There we go. So Friday we had a bit of a pullback, but you can see the strong move when we thought there was a hurricane going to really hit supplies, and an oil strike by Norway, big producer as well. But yeah, we had good move up on the Monday, where they all thought things are good because Donald Trump's underway, and then it was like, oh, okay, hang on. What's the next bit of news we need? Oh, oil strike. Oh, hurricane. Off we go again. And oil does that. It responds very, it's very sensitive to news and very fundamentals, not necessarily economic data, but definitely the news on what could or couldn't do.
So Big Rocket Man and his news over the weekend, how does that affect it?
Not so much. Let's see. But people just sort of look at him and just say, well, in the scheme of things, is he just doing this for attention right at the moment?
So what's causing that?
That on late Friday, not sure. I'm not sure what caused that late on Friday night.
That's a tough market to trade, right? When it's doing that, and probably you're looking at this.
Trade that.
I think the relationship between oil and risk on, risk off is a little bit more complicated. So if there's economic events that would impact GDP, oil will go down. If there's geopolitical events that will impact the supply of oil will go up.
Right.
And those are two different sides of the risk off coin. So
I like the second part of that. The first part is kind of weird to me.
Well, no, oil moves in sympathy with the S&P 500 a lot of the time. S&P goes down, oil goes down, right? Because an expanding economy means that people will there's more travel, there's more, people will be driving around, putting more oil in their cars and whatever, or petrol in their cars. And a contracting economy means people will be spending less money on domestic travel involving. And I guess the whole thing is skewed now because a lot of planes are not flying in the sky anymore. But
that was my next point.
but oil, a lot of the time.
Small thing.
Yeah, a lot of the time oil moves in sympathy with the S&P in terms of a barometer of economic, right? Economic risk on or risk off. But when there's geopolitical problems, especially involving Middle Eastern countries, oil can rally. Oil can catch a big bid. But I would expect if this whole North Korean nuclear thing pans out, then oil, that should put fire under oil. Not meaning to make a pun, sorry, but yeah.
Oil does love a good bombing. It does love a good rocket launch. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, sink a couple of ships in the.
It does take off.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
The geopolitical influences really do impact oil. So, and you can't. And there was a time, PH, where you were looking at what was really pushing the price of oil up. It wasn't necessarily demand. It was the supply. It was necessarily things like China stockpiling, absolutely stockpiling, because they had the opportunity to buy oil at $20 US a barrel. Then instead of spending, upwards of 50, 60, which they had been for the last couple of years. So there are those kind of elements as well that it's not quite as straightforward. And as you said, it's very complicated with what moves it and what doesn't move it. But the geopolitical influences really knock it around.
Yep.
Isn't there a bigger picture in play as well? And I've got no idea what that does from, well, it doesn't affect it from day to day, but let's face it, oil, coal, traditional fossil fuels, if you like, are under pressure from, I would think, maybe a 20, 40, 50 year vision into the future where we don't have those fossil fuels driving the economy as they have traditionally for things like wind, solar, wave, whatever.
That's a long way out, Geoff. And oil companies,
and I'm saying that, PH,
historically done,
and I am saying that, and I totally get with that. But
yeah,
and I said, as I said, it doesn't even make a dent in day-to-day transactions. But when does it? When does the big picture come into play?
I don't think we'll see that in our lifetimes.
Truly?
Yep.
What do you think?
Let's open up that question again when your bamboo's ready to harvest.
I'm getting closer.
He's getting close. Yeah, I was going to say it's probably a lot closer to harvesting than it is to everybody driving an electric car. Whilst that is, and the hybrids are there, it's progressive. It's not going to take over tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, have we heard from everyone? I noticed Lloyd's in the show, and haven't heard anything from Lloyd yet. And I'm just wondering.
No, we will. We're getting there.
Okay.
These incredibly important geopolitical and future events, in my opinion, need to be discussed. As does, there's no doubt about it, the currency's relative strengths, and that's what Lloyd's going to talk about.
And Geoff, for Bitcoin, I think the narrative now is people are buying it to hedge against this printing of the US dollar. So that's why you see now corporations even buying it, which I never expected and no one expected, like MicroStrategy and Square. And also they want to hedge against our friend Trump. I don't know how that works. So again, uncertainty, and also, but I think it's more on the printing of the US dollars. So you were asking, right, what happens if Bitcoin runs out? There might be a short
I asked you that question the other day.
Yeah, because now even companies are buying it. And you look at MicroStrategy buying what? 250 million, and Square buying 50 million. That's a lot. They're not like retail investors like us. So that's why it tried to dump below 10 many times, but it just didn't. People were buying. Now we know it's those whales, that were buying it.
It's super interesting, Shukri, where we are situated on the current world scale. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but I'm thinking Ice Age, Stone Age. Really, it's a tectonic movement, I believe, that we're about to see. And how that looks, I've got no idea, but I think you're not far from the right path in the short term. I think Ainslie's dead on the money in the short term. And I think that someday, somehow, somewhere, we're going to see a magnanimous change in what we do now. If that happens tomorrow, maybe it does. I don't see how that happens. I don't see how that works, frankly, but I absolutely see it's possible. And all of these things have absolutely nothing to do with today or tomorrow.
Interesting times. And Aussies like Geoff and Ainslie, do you know that the most innovative company in crypto now is considered to be Synthetics? They're from Australia.
Oh, they're an Aussie-based one, aren't they? I
know
about.
Yeah, and they're going to launch an exchange with Euro USD, S&P 500, gold traded there, called SIDS. They just launched it. I haven't seen it, but you see all these things coming, and it's being, it's confusing now, okay?
Wasn't it easy when we just looked at an Aussie Kiwi?
Was. It absolutely was. But isn't it fascinating? There are so many opportunities.
It is evolving.
If you can get on the right side of them, absolutely perfect. Anyway, our day-to-day jobs rely on what currencies do versus the other, and there's no better person to tell us about that than Lloyd, who's been very, very patient, because that's what he studies. G'day, mate. How you doing?
Anytime, Lloyd.
I was actually listening, so I don't mind being out of the show. I mean, all this information, I think, I agree with Geoff, that it's actually useful to the other traders, or they should, especially with the whole world now is a bit messy. So yeah, it's good to know what is going on around and keep the options open.
Well, the thing is, Lloyd, if we're prepared to stick to everything we've done forever and not look outside of that, then we're ostriches with our heads in the sand. It's not a good idea.
Isn't that why Shukri is joining us? Join us.
Absolutely right. That's why we've all joined us as a progressive element to what we do, because there's nothing that stays the same, in particular in financial markets.
I think the only thing sure about the financial market is that everything is always changing.
Yes, absolutely. So what's changing for you this week?
All right, so for this week, I think I got down a couple of currencies right since last week. So pound was actually one of the top of the list. It has strengthened, not tremendously, but so from 128 it did bounce off. So I'm still quite bullish about pound. I have absolutely no idea why, but at least technically I'm right.
You're a bit like the rest of us, mate. Why on earth would the pound rally?
Yeah. So and
I think it's more the dollar going the other way, isn't it?
Possibly, or I don't know. Actually, I'm quite confused about news nowadays, but I will leave that to Alexis. Yeah. I missed out on a trade on oil. I think there's a bit of rally, but I got into CAT, so I think it's still good. So CAT was also one of the currencies last week that I suspect they might bounce off 75, and it did. So it was a good rally of that. Euro is the one which I got it wrong. Now I sort of expected price to actually bounce off this horizontal level. It did not. Yeah, it wobbled a bit and then it actually broke above this horizontal level. Now on that, I'll be bullish about Euro, but cautiously bullish in that sense that price has been between 120 and 115 for for quite some time. I won't say a long time, but since mid-July. Yeah. So even
mate, I was absolutely on with you. I thought that the Euro had to fall. I really did. But there was a lovely little slingshot set up there on Thursday that compelled me to go along. I'm not sure that'll pan out, but yeah, I just saw it. It's a beautiful little false break of your support line there.
I think it now price at one way, it should have a fair bit of distance to go to 120. Yeah, it did pass this level. It did went to this level, I think twice at least since August. So I think we've got a good chance.
Lord give it strength.
right? So yen is the one which I've been on a ranging mode since quite a fair bit of 3 weeks back, I think. Yeah. So yen did had a bit of a reaction to Donald Trump COVID situation. But after that, it just decides to, yeah, I'll go back and do my thing. I'll just continue ranging. Swiss is still the same, buddy with yen. They're still going to range till I don't know when. But for anybody who decides to range trade, I think yen and Swiss might be a good idea. Kiwi, I'm bearish about Kiwi, but overall on the big picture, if you look at it, Kiwi is still stuck within 68 to 65. Yeah, so on a big picture, it's still going to range. Yeah, so it's not big. I'm not being very, very bearish about it. It's just that for this coming week, I think you'll hit up to 68 and then you'll just fall back down again. It doesn't have a lot of room to go up or down. Aussie is the one also that I was wrong last week. Caught me by a bit of surprise. I suspect that you actually test the level 72 and then drop back down, but instead it did test, went down a bit, and then it rallied up. Yeah. So, but I have to be cautious of this descending trend line that I have on my charts. Yeah. So it's because of this descending trend line that's why I'm being bearish about Aussie. Yeah. But if you look at the big picture, I would say Aussie have a chance to go above 75, but the last time it did that was about late 2017. Yeah, so I shall keep my fingers crossed.
Remember it was 110?
110?
Yeah, I remember. I bought a lot of golf clubs when it was 110.
That should be.
I remember when it was 110.
That's 2011, Geoff.
God, the shopping I did.
Yeah, we did well, didn't we? Eh?
Lloyd was still in school when the Aussie dollar was 110.
Yeah, probably was as well.
Thank you, Paul Hutton. You were my friend.
You know, if Aussie goes to 110, I will still be very, very happy because of Mikey's investment. That's the Aussie dollar. Yeah.
Aussie's not going to 110 anytime soon, Lloyd. But look, worse things could happen. And I agree with you. All good. So best value trade this week, mate? What is it?
No, Geoff, I can't recommend a best value trade. But overall, I would just suggest to trade is strong against the week. That would actually be pound and CAD against Aussie and USD. Yeah, leave the center.
Pound, CAD, Aussie dollar. Right. Okay.
No. Pound and CAD will be my strongest pair to trade. Aussie and dollar will be my weakest pair to trade.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the order.
Aussie weakest. Interesting. Why the Aussie?
Yeah, so because Aussie of this trend line, I mean it did rally in the past week. Just to be careful of this trend line. If it does break, then I would say it's another story. But like I mentioned, because it might have potentially another lower high. Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm keeping being wary about it.
Yep. Fair enough. Okay. Technical point, got it. Absolutely. Okay, that kind of wraps you up, does it not?
Yep, that's all for me.
All right, mate. Thank you very much indeed. I've got to be completely honest. I've got very, very little to offer, and I've got my wrong mouse, so that's not a good idea either. I'm on another computer. There we go. I honestly have got very little to offer this week in terms of where I want to go, starting from tomorrow morning. But there's one that I am very, very keen on, and it's Euro Yen. Yet I can't find the chart. I've been listening intently to everybody else, and there it is. Okay, so Euro Yen, I'm particularly keen on trading this short. And you might ask why that would be the case, given that we've just had a break of the resistance trend line, which is this one here. It's a little bit more complex than that. And we've been following this, I guess, theme for the entire week last week. And we had to wait a whole lot of time before we got a result out of it. In fact, I'd go so far as to say if we didn't get a result out of it, but we got a result in the opposite direction. And I'm talking about this kind of scenario where we've had a clear, in my opinion, this is a daily chart, a clear potential reversal in the head and shoulders. Now, I'm not necessarily a head and shoulders proponent, but what I do see is a potential reversal, a neckline break, and a neckline retest. This is absolutely out of the textbook if you're going to trade a reversal. Now, let me explain that just a little bit further. If a currency or a chart is going to reverse, it's going to reverse pretty much exactly as I'm seeing, in my opinion, exactly as I'm seeing here. You're going to get a sign that there's a reversal on, then you're going to get a second sign that there's going to be a reversal on, and then you're going to get a retest of that breakout. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. This is a daily chart I'm looking at. And if in the morning, if I don't see a big gap up to here or down to here, then I will absolutely place an entry below that candle and a stop loss above it. Let me go a little bit clearer than that, if you like. This doesn't look promising from a... Sorry, I'm just trying to get my little pins together here. It doesn't look really promising from a breakout point of view, because we've just broken this trend line in a very emphatic fashion. But we've also hit this resistance area, which is the neckline, in my humble opinion, also very, very strongly. You could look at this in two ways. One way is to be conservative, and if you're of the same opinion I am, wait for this to come back below the pivots. Obviously, the daily pivot won't be there tomorrow. The monthly pivot will, and the weekly pivot will sneak up here somewhere. The daily pivot probably move up to here somewhere. But this is the key. The trend line, get below that again and retest that area. Okay, the daily pivot won't be there, but that's going to be the key. And if that appears, then, oh my goodness, I reckon that's a really good trade. Look at the big picture on this one. Big picture, you're underneath a massive descending trend line. So this is in a very, very strong, what do you call those things? Sorry, guys. Everything's escaped me at the moment. We're in a massive bear market. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to get rid of that. Everything's working against me. There you go. So we're in a massive bear market, in my humble opinion. Okay, yes, we've had a bit of a bounce off the bottom, and we're still restricted by this descending trend line. We're also at a strong horizontal level, which is 126.71 as I've got it. And we've had a big bounce off. Oh my goodness, I'm so bearish. This is not funny. And I see an opportunity to trade that off the daily chart. Sorry, off the 4-hour chart, more than the daily chart. So let's concentrate on that area. If we get back below here, as I said, and then retest it, oh yeah, this is the one I want. So this is a good retracement, no question, on what we've seen previously. I'm ready to go here. This is a good shorting opportunity, in my humble opinion. And there'll be a lot of people who will say that's nonsense. That big breakout there is giving us a strong bullish indicator. I disagree with that. So, pardon me. I'm a bear on Euro Yen big time because of that level that we're seeing here. You're not seeing it so much on the smaller time frames, but that's where I'm at. So any opportunity here on any time frame, I'm going to trade this short Euro Yen. I really don't have a whole lot apart from that's enticing me into the market. I've got probably 4 or 5 trades that I'm in. I can share those with you, but that doesn't make any sense because I'm already in them, and I can't really entice you into those positions because they've already gone. I've got to go to probably Paul H and I spoke about CAD Swiss for quite some time, a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week, and I see this as a strong opportunity now. Let me go a bit tighter. We're on the daily chart, and what I see here is pretty clear. We've had a break of not only the trend line, but the monthly pivot, the weekly pivot, throw in the daily pivot, which is not really important. And then we've had a little bit of a spinning top sitting here. Yeah, I'm dead set keen to go long this pair, but not entirely sure now is the right time. I'll see what tomorrow brings, but I think, okay, I'll lay it on the line. If you are prepared to say this candle here is tradable, and it is because you've got your stop loss below the monthly pivot, you got your entry above here, which is above all the noise, frankly, I'm actually keen to do that. In fact, I will do that tomorrow. I hadn't looked at this as closely as I am now. Stop loss there, entry there, TP1 here. I think that's a pretty good trade. So I'm talking CAD Swiss long. And I'm not going to go any further than that. Both of those pairs, I think, are entirely tradable tomorrow. In fact, I think this one's tradable now. CAD Swiss long, TP1 about here somewhere. I'm going to trade that in the morning, absolutely. Guys and girls, I'm not going any further than that. Yeah, I'm getting soft. You're right, Helen. I am. It's Sunday. I'm really not into entering trades on Sunday. But I'll tell you what, I hadn't looked at this as well as I had right now. I think this is a classic. I'm going long above here, CAD Swiss. Absolutely.
Geoff, just one more little point about the CAD Swiss. If you look at the price action from about the last 3 weeks, you can see a little double bottom there. It's not clean. It's not clean, but it's got 2 distinct points of around about, I think, 60, 68, 60. And it's got a neckline as well. And we're just sitting at the neckline right now.
Mate, you and I are pretty keen on this. How does that work, I wonder? A trend trader versus a...
Look, it's not exactly a trend trade. I do like to trade breakouts as well, but I follow chart patterns, and this is a bullish chart pattern that I see before me.
Is that based on this area here?
No, is it based... no. Just in the last few weeks, in the last month or so. This is the daily chart you're looking at, right?
Okay, so let's talk about this, right?
Yes.
Because I find it fascinating, because the reason I was so keen on trading this was because of that level there, which was totally historic, right? We dipped below it and we got back above it and we retested it. That's why I was keen, because to me, that's a false break of that area.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to see because it's such a... I was going to swear. I was a buggered up chart, right?
Yeah, okay. But what you're looking at is a bit too long term for me. If you go to the daily chart.
Yep.
Okay. And if you look at the price action between your 2 horizontal levels, you'll see that, if between your 2 horizontal levels at 60, 68, 62 and 69.34 or 69.40 or whatever, right? You'll see that there's and it's not clean, but there's a low, and it comes back to the same horizontal level, and then there's another knee jerk, right, low, and then it comes back to the horizontal level. So it looks like a double bottom for me. And people in the chat are talking about head and shoulders. This is not a head and shoulders. Well, I don't know if Ash was here, he'd find a way to interpret it as a head and shoulders.
He would, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's not.
No, for me, it looks more like a double bottom than a head and shoulders.
You know what enticed me into it, PH, and I said this, I don't know when we spoke about this, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I don't know.
Yeah, it was at least 2 weeks ago, because we took a trade on it and we got pipped out 1 pip below our
I
master
haven't
candle.
entered yet. I haven't entered yet.
Oh, okay.
I should have entered on that candle. That's the one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the one that's telling me we're going long.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second biggest tweezer bottom I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. The only way is up from there, isn't it?
Yeah, that tells me a lot. Absolutely tells me. And I think I'm not sure who pointed that out earlier. I think it was Shukri, actually, on Pound Aussie. When I see something as substantial as that on a substantial chart, I can't deny it. I've got to trade it in some way, shape or form. And that was the candle to trade this on. No question in my mind. Terrible candle. It's a spinning top, but that's the one.
But I'm looking at things from the last couple of weeks on the daily chart.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, and I see an entry there, definitely. And I'm trading that tomorrow. I didn't see that before.
Awesome. Great minds think alike.
What's great, guys, is that Geoff, PH, you both got there, but from completely different angles. So I think it's a really good thing to see is that you've come at it from different time frames. You've come at it you've done analysis on it from different lengths of time, and both on the same on the bullish page, which is great. Yeah. And the other thing, Helen, if you are squeezing your eyes to see a chart pattern, get to the next chart. You don't squeeze your eyes. Move along. It's not there.
That's great advice, and that really carries on for every single thing. If you don't see the pattern, if you don't see the setup, you don't trade. Simple as that.
Because you start bending everything to you're going to bend all the rules, and you're going to make that pattern fit your agenda, and that's not what you're doing. And Paul said it at least 15 times this evening, which is trade what you see, not what you think. And that is so important.
I'll give you a good example of that tomorrow, guys, in the show. We were so super bearish euro dollar going into last week, yet I traded it long. And guess what? We're doing okay.
Yep.
It's a funny world, isn't it? The world of trading is very, very funny. I was super bearish the euro dollar and traded it long there.
Yeah. But there's I guess what I'm also trying to say is there's no hard and fast way of getting on your page and following through your technicals. You need to look at it and develop your own style of how you look at things. It's really important, and stick to it and be consistent.
What's also important is spending the rest of Sunday with your family.
Good idea.
I'm about to do that. Jure, what have you got? A trade that euro dollar both short and long, short on H1, long on D1, and made money both ways. Perfect. How good's that? Jure, well done.
Excellent.
It is possible. Righto, guys, thank you so much for being a part of our Sunday and our weekend. And thank you, A. Thank you, PH. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, everyone who joined in. Look, I'm sure Paul Bottrell, our boss, is having a wonderful time tonight. Maybe he's not.
Not as wonderful as he
anticipated.
He didn't win, so he's We'll see how he pans out.
Dennis, going back to your initial comments, look, I think the right result was in the end. the Aussies are coming good, mate. The Aussies are coming good. We'll put it that way. Let's close the show by saying, say again, eh?
We've been on holiday. We're back into the game now.
Yeah, what you see, not what you think. Good night.
True story.
Thanks, P8.
Good
See
night,
you guys.
everyone.
Have a good week, everyone.
I'm still skeptical about the wallabies. Goodbye.
You're an expat. Piss off.
Bye all.
Take care.